The name is Dale. I'm here to do the review of American Made. I'm also going to do the review of Logan Lucky. First off, I want to do American Made. This is the best Tom Cruise movie I've seen him in since Mission Impossible, since the last Mission Impossible movie. The movie is directed by Doug Liman. If you're not familiar with him, he directed movies like The Swingers. I believe he did one of the Born Identity movies, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. He also directed Edge of Tomorrow, which also stars Tom Cruise. And he did this small independent movie called The Wall, which I saw this year, which was pretty solid. The movie takes place in the 1980s, American Made, and it's about the true story about this guy named Barry Seal, who was a TWA pilot who gets recruited, or you can say hired by the CIA to do our jobs. First he starts taking photos of military bases in Central America. Then he's running drugs from South America to the United States, or Central America to the United States, which is the bulk of the movie. That's pretty much what the movie's mostly about. And he also does gun running, etc., whatever the CIA wants him to do. And Tom Cruise seems to be the perfect guy to play Barry Seal, because Barry Seal comes off as an adrenaline junkie. He gets the rush of going into danger and doing dangerous jobs. And if you know Tom Cruise, he loves to do his own stunts. As many stunts they let him do or they allow him to do, he'll do it when it comes to his movies. So it seems to be the perfect casting. My folks, Darrell, he mentioned to me not too long ago, he said it seems funny that they are coming out with all this material, blatantly admitting that the CIA was putting drugs into the black community. You have this movie American Made, you got the TV series Snowfall, and a few years ago you had this movie called Kill the Messenger, which was a very underrated, very good movie, which was about the reporter who exposed the CIA. And this movie American Made is basically the birth of the whole Iran-Contra scandal with Oliver North and Ronald Reagan and all those folks. It's a very good movie, very entertaining. It's funny at moments. It's interesting. This guy, Barry Seal, led a very interesting life. No doubt about that. So I highly recommend it. I give it a strong B+. I was leaning more towards A-, but this movie strikes me as a movie, if I watch again, it'll get better. The only problem I had with this movie is the casting of Tom Cruise's wife. She looks like she's young enough to be his daughter, because you know Tom Cruise is well into his 50s. I know he doesn't look it, maybe it's that Scientology that keeps him looking young, but she looks like she could be his daughter, the one that's playing his wife in this movie. So that was the only little problem I had with it. But other than that, I highly recommend it. Let's move on to Logan Lucky. This film was directed by Steven Soderbergh. If you're not familiar with him, he directed all the Oceans movies. Oceans 11, 12, 13, so on and so forth. He directed Out of Sight, I believe. He directed the first Magic Mike movie. And he also directed this TV series called The Nick, which was on Cinemax. It was only 2 seasons. It was designed to only be 2 seasons. It didn't get canceled. And he directed every episode of those 2 seasons, which is very rare in TV. Lucky Logan stars Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, and Daniel Craig. Yes, James Bond. This is a totally different character from James Bond. It's unique seeing him play something when you're so used to seeing him play James Bond. He does a great job. He's one of the standouts in the movie. And this movie basically is the redneck, dirty South country version of Ocean's 11. These 2 brothers, which is Adam Driver and Channing Tatum's character, they fall onto, I guess you could say they fall onto hard times. They run into a string of bad luck. They say the family's cursed, and they want to break that curse of them not having any success or prospering in anything they do. So they get the bright idea, well, one of them gets the bright idea to pull a heist during a NASCAR race. And that's when all the hijinks and shenanigans and funny moments pursue. It's an entertaining movie, very funny movie. I recommend it, but it's not a great movie. It's one of those movies where if you went to pay at the theater to see it, you wouldn't be mad. But it's not something you run and go tell somebody, hey, you gotta see it. But if you see it, you wouldn't be upset. I give it a B-. So there you have it.